I was in Australia, and I met a woman there who had been abandoned by her own parents when she had babies and she wasn't married. So she found herself a single mother of twins, alone, with no family support and homeless. And Home Start was there to help her pick up the pieces. And she cried as she told me about the difference that this volunteer had made to her life. And the volunteer cried as she told me how moving and how important this relationship had become to her as well.
UK, Israel, Japan and Uganda.
The thing about Home Start is it's a network of community organisations around the world, so small projects helping families in local communities. But every so often we like to get together so that we can work together to plan where we're going to go for the next few years. So every 3 years we have a global conference and pull together people from Home Start in as many countries as we have, which is currently 20 countries.
Group 2, Australia, Latvia. Who are the Australians can come over here to the Latvians and Lithuanians?
We work in really different communities. We work in villages and cities, in wealthy communities and poor communities. And you would think that maybe we wouldn't have so much to learn from each other, but in fact the opposite is true. What I find incredible is wherever we work, we hear the same stories. We hear the same stories from parents about how hard it can be to raise young children. And it doesn't matter if you're in a village in Kenya or a wealthy suburb in Canada, some of the challenges are the same, and we can learn from each other and we can learn what works. And the one thing we know for sure is that having somebody from your community who's been through the same things that you're going through, who understands what you're going through, that's what really makes a difference.
Japan, there could be 30 schemes in Japan.
The Netherlands would like to grow from 90 to 100 schemes.
Well, Greece, which has one and a half schemes at the moment, hopes that we'll have 6 schemes.
In Israel, they will perhaps have 50 schemes.
South Africa would like to grow from 2 to 4, and
we are also concerned about our future. So we are expecting to have, we are hoping very much to have secured sufficient funding to have next year a very low-key year at Home Start International.
Around the world we have thousands of volunteers, people who give big chunks of time to help families, tens of thousands, probably about 20,000 volunteers worldwide who give up several hours each week to support a family. A lot of those are in the UK, but we also have many thousands of volunteers in 20 other countries around the world. And those volunteers help tens of thousands of families and children. But the key thing is that Home Start is run at a grassroots level. So Home Start International is not some huge, enormous international organisation running all of these projects. Far from it. Home Start International is a tiny organisation. There's only 3 or 4 staff at any one time. And we work hand in hand with local staff and the many thousands of volunteers who help us run the organisation.
This is about making sure that every family we support gets the best possible, most effective support from Home Start.
So it's a funny organisation in some ways because we're so tiny and yet actually we're something enormous as well. And I think everybody in the network feels that. When they're working at a community level, family by family, they're nonetheless part of an active, dynamic and very warm international organisation. One of the things we find is that Home Start now operates in around a dozen countries where there is almost no possibility of state funding for our services. So local communities have to scrabble around for every penny that they make. Home Start International itself has a similar issue. We don't get any state funding because we are supporting projects in so many different countries. So for us at Home Start International, we have a double challenge. We need to raise money to keep our own fairly small overheads going. There's only 3 staff, a very small office. And we also have to help those community projects around the world that simply are unable to find enough adequate local funding for their projects. Every penny that we get makes a huge difference. in a very large organisation, a donation of £5 is almost invisible, but for us actually every pound counts, and we are extremely careful to make sure that all of our money is well used. We have small overheads, and we do our absolute best to make sure that, that the money is well spent and goes to help as many families as it possibly can.